Hello, I have been making journals since 2018, and I have found that this kind of creative collage journaling has been extremely useful for me in discovering more about myself and what world means to me, and being creative and just generally exploring dreams and options. Here is me showing you a bunch of ones I've done in the past, all the way up through 2021. And I would love to step you through some of these. First one was my beginning journal. I started with this one at Christmas, and it must have been 2017. So actually I've been doing this since 2017. And it was a program put together by a lovely lady by the name of Victoria Smith at her website, themojolab.com. And she had this little journaling exercise that she sent out that year that just hooked me on this whole idea of doing this kind of journaling. And you can see I'm showing here the pages I did for this year. I pull out this particular journal every year and do another 12 days. Just using old clippings from magazines and writing out my thoughts. There was a little prompt that went with each one, and I revisit those prompts and I adapt them to whatever I need. This is one of my journals I made in previous years, and I'm looking at this as I'm setting up for this year. I'm going to do another map. It'll be a different kind of map than this one, but that was my map of my inner world at that time, and I think it's time for a new map. It's been quite a while. I even made an airship. I was feeling particularly artistic and creative in that moment. You can make these projects as simple or as complicated as you wish. Sometimes all you have time for is just a little bit of writing, in which case it's nice to have a pretty spot to go in and do that. It looks like this year I left little notes to myself. Like in here I have a note card, and I wrote sweet notes to myself. It has been particularly beautiful reviewing these and seeing where I was and where I've gotten to, and just going back in the memories of my own thoughts and feelings. And I wrote a poem here. I don't want you to read it actually, so it's kind of see, you can stick poetry in a note card there. I had the note card in my stash. Images were from magazines, catalogs. I did composite images. Here I had some sort of vision, I called it. It's one of those moments. I had an interaction with some bees. So I wrote down my thoughts on that in a note card. Also, I was really into dragons. The whole dragon imagery was capturing me, and I created this mystical, I call them dragon pages with the floating heads, a note card to myself about what does dragon mean. I looked up all the meanings and put it in a note card. I like to review my past journals before going into the new year and before I set up the new one. I'm actually in the process right now of setting up a new journal, and I hope to be posting videos of that as I work on it, and I invite you to join me along in this process as we create a book for the new year. A book for 2022 alone that'll be just my experiences, my collected thoughts, and ramblings not everything manifests. In fact, I think as you go through some of this, you realize that some of those things you were thinking were your dreams or your ambitions were actually things that have been put on you by other people. And you look at things and you go, I keep putting that there. So either I really, really want to do it, and I'm just avoiding it and avoiding it and avoiding it, or I never really did want to do it, and I'm just putting it in here, I'm just writing that down, because I think I should want to do that. And yet, it never gets done. So, what is holding me back on those kinds of things? Is it lack of opportunity? Is it lack of funding? Is it lack of actual interest? Lack of time? I don't know. I had time for a bunny train. It's just a moment of whimsy. See, and then here I picked up doing morning pages again, which is a great exercise. Love this though. Things gathered, nuts, bones, eggs, mushrooms, books. I'm making books a theme in my upcoming year. I'm revisiting some books I want to reread or actually read, reading straight through instead of letting them sit in stacks that I only bounce between. This is a page I made about taking risks, the risk of being fabulous. I made an attempt at Inktober that year. It didn't last long, but hey, I did do some drawing. I don't consider myself an artist. Not that kind of artist, a visual artist. Although, look at what I just said about myself. I'm obviously doing some sort of visual art thing here. And my home does include paintings and drawings done by me. So, I don't know what else I could say. I guess I could say I don't make money at being an artist like that, a visual artist, but it doesn't mean you can't be an artist. I think so much of our culture, we think something's only valuable if you can make money doing it. And that's not what this is about. This is about exploring the possibilities. You take that moment to put together disparate images with your own words and thoughts. You create something that is uniquely yours. Here's my very first one. This was for Victoria Smith's Wonder Club, and an amazing class she taught all year long that honestly I wish, an experience like that for each and every one of you, because that made such an impact on my life. Here we go. I made a little space clearing rattle out of a ratty seed packet. It's still in there. I can still go back and experience that moment. Little notes I left to myself. Maybe one of these days some of this will sink into my soul. I think it is. Every year I choose some guiding spirits or guiding energies. This year it was the horse. I made a page for it, and there's my little horse statuette I had tucked in there. And I wrote up the horse medicine itself inside a little pouch, which I'll pull out here. Made a little horse head shaped pouch. And wrote down the little things and some notes. Could always go through there and look at them and what I was dealing with. It's kind of funny looking back on these now and seeing how much of that energy was indeed in place that year. I've already discovered my spirit energies or totems or guides for this coming year. They've came to me. I started looking. I usually start looking sometime in December. I look for things that are repeating themselves, that are attracting me, that it's just kind of made its way into my existence without me really noticing. Something that maybe it's an image that charms me, or a scent I keep discovering, or a taste, or maybe a quote from a book that just strikes you. I've ended up with an animal and an herb this year so far. I'm looking forward to how those energies are going to play in my next year. The club had a thing going about owls, so those were my owl pages. And there we are with Bravery, the nuthatch, my favorite bird. Again, little notes left to myself. These are so much fun. Going back in and looking through these and seeing these little things I cut out and put together, it's just been wonderful for me. Wonderful. I love that word. Full of wonder. That was Victoria's thing with the full of wonder bit, calling it her Wonder Club. And that word I can't let go of. I've used it in some of my other titles of my journals. I always give this book a title. Made a little meditation, little focal point there, little stand-up, little goddess figurine. Now, I must admit, the year I did this, I did not have a lot else going on in my life. I was recovering from some injury and making my way into a new relationship that has become a joyful one. And so, this was writing a Valentine's Day card to yourself. And I really went for it. So I said I had time for this. Now this, your own journal, if you choose to do something like this, doesn't have to be this elaborate. This is just, give it as much or a little as you want to. Choose a format, like a smaller book, for instance, might be better suited. It doesn't have to be an expensive book. I honestly find that good old, exercise books work really well, like what this is in. I made a little pop-up flower garden. I think there was that part of me back then that wanted my own garden and my own yard to garden in, and guess what? I have that now. Yes. Always harps. A wonderful exercise that she had us do was doing a bean garden of magic beans. Just had us select some things that we wanted to grow in ourselves for that year. I still do something like this every year. I pick some of these things up and enjoy looking at some things I can develop within myself or in my life and see what takes hold and what doesn't. It's okay. Not all plants grow well in the same soil. That's what I've learned. I'm also a gardener, and I've learned that just because you have dirt and you have a seed doesn't mean it's going to grow well. There's a lot of other factors involved, but you don't know, and you will never, ever get anywhere if you don't try. And then start making the adjustments you need to make in order to create the garden of your dreams. You have to adjust the kind of soil. You have to adjust how you water things. You have to make allowances for weather and and time and energy. See, sometimes I just did some journaling pages. Now this was quite an undertaking. I got a crazy idea. What's that doing in there? I don't know. It's a little origami crane. Huh, what a little treasure. Hi, little crane. I'll just tuck you back in there. There we go. Oh, my apothecary of happy bits. What a fun project this was, I must say. I mean, you see what I did here. I made a booklet of sorts by sewing a bunch of autumn leaves together and writing little happy things on each leaf. If you ever get it into your mind to sew a bunch of leaves together into a book, it's kind of complicated. I'm surprised at how well this is held up. Of course, I very rarely take it out to show it like this, so it's very simple. I kept it simple. It's always a good idea. But the leaves have actually retained some of their color and have held together somewhat. There we are. Leonard Bernstein. He is a happy bit. Just the fact that he existed. Nuthatch again. Yeah, there they are, sitting in their little protective folder. On to July. Don't know how those leaves ended up like they did, but on my wedding day, yes. I did get married that year. Did some more sketching, more writing. And I think, there we are. Having some preconceived of ideas and some guidance in this does help. That's why I'll be sharing with you some of the things I'm doing in my year, if this is something you're interested in pursuing and looking at doing. I just know that it's something you approach gently and calmly. See, then I ran out of time for doing much other than journaling itself. But I did journal, and it's all in there. Close it up. Tie it with the ribbon. Say goodbye to the year.